Eagles-Vikings in a second, but first, Magic at Cavs. Check out the incredible pass from LeBron James. He's such a good passer.
I mean, so this is a behind-the-back nutmeg to a guy. I mean, Dwayne Wade was just tickled by it. It was LeBron's really only great play of the night.
Yeah, he threw like 6 of them to Orlando, Jenna.
Cece, you always talk about, let's talk about the positive. In the positive of none of those bad plays are in that highlight.
6:30 hour. People are just getting up. Now they need something hot to get them going to work. Let's go. You got 12 minutes or you're late?
All right. When you beat the buzzer, they call it a buzzer beater. Right, Eric Gordon? From half court to end the third. 3 of his 30, and the Rockets win.
There's a scourge hitting the NBA of guys releasing these intentionally after the buzzer so it doesn't hurt their field goal percentage.
Also, NFL quarterbacks at halftime throwing the ball out of bounds to avoid the interception.
Instead of trying to get the Hail Mary touchdown. Exactly. I applaud Eric Gordon, and the basketball god smiled upon you.
76ers beat the Celtics, but Jason Tatum is pretty good right here. Tonight.
Very athletic.
This guy, I'm so impressed by.
You're so surprised. Guy's athletic, can shoot, dribble, and he's from Duke.
Oh, well, I'm not even an anti-Duke guy. I'm just impressed at how mature his game is as a one-and-done player.
For 19.
Yeah. Take your pick, guys. Let's start with the Vikings and the Eagles, 2 quarterbacks. The quarterback matchup of the century. Case Keenum against Nick Foles. Who has the better performance Sunday, Keenum or Foles? CC, take your pick.
I'm going with, I got a case of the cases.
Ooh.
So I'm going with Keenum. I just believe against that defense, it's going to be a tough task. Now, especially with the offensive line, concerned about the right guard, concerned about the right tackle on the Vikings for pass protection side. But let's mix it up. They are going to run it, throw a lot of screen passes against that rush, that 7-man rotation. I like Case.
I like Case as well. I think Case is the better player. I also think he's going up against the weaker defense. The Eagles have a good defense. They don't have, to me, a great defense the way the Vikings do. So I like the matchup better, and I like Case's weapons more. I like Thielen and Diggs more than any wide receiver the Eagles have. So for all those reasons, I like Case Keenum, even though dome quarterback going out on the road, there's some issues there, but it should be good weather, so I like Case.
All right, moving on to the running game. The Eagles are led by a 3-headed monster of J.J. LeGarrette Blount and Corey Clement, while the Vikings are led by Latavius Murray and Jerick McKinnon. So who will have a better game Sunday, the Vikings running backs or the Eagles running backs? Nick, take your pick.
I believe it will be the Eagles running backs. I think they are the more talented group, and I think the Eagles will lean on them far more than the Vikings will lean on their running game. I think the Eagles, one of the reasons they have to hope they don't get down by multiple scores is their slim path to victory involves 28, 30, 32 carries by their running games, extending drives. So for that reason, I like the Eagles running backs in this game.
I like the Vikings running backs. The reason why is who they're going against. The Vikings in their 3 losses this season, those are the only time running backs gain more than 90 yards. So when they win, they hold the opposition down. And man, you can't like the way the running backs of Philadelphia looked in week number 1. Those only people on the field look more nervous than Nick Foles.
Every single one.
Yes. And Jerick McKinnon is really one of the most underrated skilled guys going to be on the field. Watch him in the passing game. Watch him on the draws on 3rd down.
All right, mind you, these running backs are both going up against the top 2 rushing defenses in the NFL.
Yep.
So there'll be something to look for there, too. Moving on to another big matchup in this game, the Vikings dynamic duo of Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen going up against the Eagles secondary led by Malcolm Jenkins. So who will be better on Sunday? The Vikings wideouts or the Eagles D-backs? CC, take your pick.
I'm taking the Vikings wide receivers. And I believe this is the difference between this team and the last several years where they've had an elite defense, but they couldn't get over the hump because they couldn't make enough plays. Inconsistent passing game from the quarterback. I'm taking the Vikings wide receivers. Most contested balls this season, no one's been better than the Vikings. Stephon Diggs, #1 in the NFL.
Yeah, this is, I guess, spoiled my answer on this one earlier. I think the Vikings wide receivers have, I don't want to say a mismatch because Jenkins is a good player, Ronald Darby's a good player, but I think they have the edge here. I also think the fact that the Kyle Rudolph is a real threat to catch the football is going to take some of Malcolm Jenkins' attention away from the wide receivers, and whichever wide receiver Darby isn't on, I think you can get a good rapport with. So for all those reasons, I like the Vikings wide receivers in this game coming off where they both made huge plays. Diggs is the one we remember, but we just showed the amazing Thielen catch where he got interfered with a couple times.
All right, moving on to the AFC Championship game. Leonard Fournette's coming off a big game, 109 yards, 3 touchdowns against Pittsburgh. But the Pats have a monster of their own. And a guy by the name of Rob Gronkowski, I think is how they pronounce that. He had a touchdown of his own last week. So who will have a better performance on Sunday, Fournette or Gronk? Nick, start with you. Take your pick.
This is the one spot that I expect the Jags to do well offensively is Leonard Fournette. I think they're going to feed him the football to keep the ball out of Blake Bortles' hand. Conversely, I think the Jags are going to have a very Patriot-like approach, which is who's your best guy? We want to take him away. I think the Jags will focus on stopping Gronk. So for those reasons, I like Fournette very narrowly in this compared to Gronk.
Yeah, there is no offense, Nick. You know this. That's more predictable than the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're very predictable when they get in 2 tight ends, when they get in 2 backs, what they're going to do. Most of the time, they're going to run. Yep. Bill Belichick knows that a lot better than we do, makes tough sledding. Fournette is the #1 weapon against New England. So what happens to the #1 weapon? He gets negated all the time. So I'm going with Gronk. Gronk makes hay in the middle of the field in this game on Sunday.
All right, and finally, the marquee matchup in this game, the stifling Jaguars defense against that all-time great Tom Brady. Who will have a better performance on Sunday, the Jags defense or Tom Brady? Nick, take your pick.
Tom Brady, man. Like, it's Tom Brady against the Jacksonville Jaguars for a chance to go to the Super Bowl in his stadium. My money is on Tom Brady, even if, much like much like Sam Bradford, he has to have that thumb amputated. I still like Tom Brady's chances in this game. He's who I'm going with, CC.
Nick, you're a fan of history, so since 1990, under this current format, 3 other times we've had the top passer, that being Tom Brady, going against the top pass defense, that being the Jacksonville Jaguars. Unbeknownst to the American public, 3 times the defense has won
3-0.
the game. They're 3-0. This would be 4-0 if Jacksonville was able to pull it off. I'm going with Jacksonville's D because of the injury to Brady, and also because Malcolm Mitchell, they were trying to bring him back. They couldn't get him back, so I don't think they're going to be as effective outside like Jacksonville's D.
Very good insight, boys. Very good insight. Coming up, is LeBron going to pull a complete shocker with his all-star pick? That's next on First Things First. He's probably going to take Kyrie first.
Nah, man.
Yeah, maybe.
Nah, I'd lay a lot of money that doesn't happen. Yeah, you got to coach it.
Introducing the all-new Safety Toe Work division from Skechers. Now